All right, hello. Here we are on the land, and today is an exciting day, in my opinion.
What are we doing?
We are digging the footer, and it is that correct?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing, and that's, I feel like, the first big step towards a house.
Yeah, we have laid out, you saw us put up the batter boards, we laid out the strings, now we marked the grounds, and we're all set to go.
Yes.
I've got the excavator, you can see it back there, is the Mini-X that we'll be using today. Now it's pretty difficult actually to use it. Those guys, they make it look super simple, but it's kind of hard. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig probably about 16 inches down and do a 10 to 12 inch footer, concrete. The pour is going to be about 10 to 12 inches.
Okay.
And 24-inch wide bucket, and that's really all there is to it. So we're going to get at it, and hopefully within a few hours have a footer.
Yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm happy. All right, let's do it.
At the moment we broke ground here for the footer, I have about 3 minutes of experience on a Mini-X. And those were the 3 minutes it took to get from out by the road, up the driveway to the build site. And that's it. And I would not recommend you begin a permanent portion of your home having so little experience. There are some reasons why, which I'll get into here in a sec, but take 30, 45 minutes at the controls of the machine and take the time to learn it. Understand how everything works in tandem, how the joysticks work in tandem, how to get the thing lined up. It was all a real struggle for me. Everything was a struggle. I'd say the first 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours, every move was a struggle. It was difficult. And so suddenly, an hour, 2 hours in, I realized I'm really behind here. I've got 8 hours on the equipment. Well, I'm not racing the 8 hours on the equipment. I've got less than 8 hours of daylight available to me, and it'll be picked up in the morning. I say that now, and then I think sometimes, ignorance sometimes can be advantageous. It can prevent you from not doing something that you have no business doing. So I'm ignorant on the machine, so I just jump in and get started. And I guess there's some advantages to that. I'll kind of walk back a little bit, but you have to move forward. You have to figure it out on the fly. Part of the whole DIY story is this. It's getting uncomfortable, doing things that you have no business or no idea about, and just figuring it out along the way. I'm analytical, I'm a research guy, I'm always trying to think, well, if I learn enough about it, then I'll be okay. And this is just one of those instances. It's machinery. There's no substitute for experience. You can't learn it in a book or on a website. You just have to do it. And you'll see as we go, it's rough. The job I'm doing here is, for my standard, it's brutal. It's hard. I'm racing the daylight. I've managed to line up the lines pretty well. They're not too off. A couple places are, but it's really the base of the footer. It's so out of spec, 4 or 5 inches here or there. And it's just super hard for me to get that leveled. And Tellu had to go take care of the kids. And so I'm just trying to jump in and out of the machine all day long, trying to level things as best as I can without it hanging me up and holding me up too badly. Because there's a serious deadline with the daylight. So the bases of the footers are just brutal. I kept running into the batter boards, the hard-earned batter boards. I kept running into them and knocking them. I broke one almost in half, and it crushed me. But I couldn't dwell on it. I just had to keep going. And so that's what we did. Now into the evening, as we got into the evening, I did have a spotlight on the top of the Mini-X that helped me, but you don't realize daylight gives you this depth perception. You can judge depth. You can really it just gives you all the intricacies of sight. And when you have a spotlight in the dark, it flattens everything. Then you have everything looks like it's about 2 inches deep. You just have no sense how deep you're going on those footers, and it got really difficult as it did get darker. But had to just power through it. Back to my original point. Sometimes ignorance is okay, because it doesn't prevent you from doing something that you're uncomfortable with and unfamiliar with. And we just did it. All the corners are brutal. I decided to not overdo the corners at risk caving them all in. I wanted to maintain their, integrity of the corners, and so I kind of left all of them undone to some degree, and that's okay. We'll just have to go back and clean those up, fix those by hand, dig those out by hand. And well, spoiler alert, it turned out okay. In the end, this is the DIY story. This is why we're doing it. We're learning new things. We're learning new equipment. We're experiencing this, like really physically experiencing this. And I'm enjoying this. It's challenging. It's scary. I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the challenge. There are not a lot of things in work and life that really challenge you as you kind of get stuck into your rhythms, your daily rhythms. This really challenges you. This is all new. And so we're enjoying this process, this DIY story, and this is part of our adventure. This is part of our story. I do want to say that we are appreciative of this opportunity, and we're really going to make the most of it. We're going to do it as inexpensively as we can. We're going to do as much of this as we can by ourselves. We really appreciate you joining us and following along, being part of the story. I really appreciate you watching. So, at any rate, thank you very much for sticking with us, and thank you very much for